need to allocate more resources to? For more staff. Yes, if you're in a retail store or in your manufacturing or wherever you are, before Christmas time, you need to have more staff. But more staff costs more money.
And that's when you go to agency.
May go to, but you still got to pay the agencies. Whoever you get, you still need to pay. So in this way, resource allocation and the budgets allow you to plan in what amount of resources you need for staff or IT equipment or this equipment or marketing for advertising or whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, and then to allocate the appropriate monies available to pay for that. Yes? Coordination, what do we mean by coordination? So the budget allows you to coordinate in terms of what? What do I mean by this?
So working together with other departments.
Good. Working together with other departments, coordinating, or as you said before, synchronizing. Synchronizing the activities. So if you know that I am doing a marketing campaign, and the marketing campaign is going to be in October, November, to create more sales for the retailers of a specific product, then I know that I need to synchronize my resources in terms of planning all the promotional material, the point of sale, the advertising, with the sales team to let the agents know what's happening in August. To let the agents know what's happening in August, to work on the media design, to work on the ad campaigns, to work on this with your art team, yeah, so that they can create the images. So you could go through it. So you have to allocate, and this is how it allows you to coordinate activities. So everyone knows what you're doing and what they're going to need to do to help you synchronize the activities to meet your objectives. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. The budget also allows you to. Purpose of a budget is to. Budgetary control is to control. What do you mean by control? Control what? What are we controlling? Yes, you're controlling the amount of. Yes. And what will normally happens is, in terms of control, one of the purposes of the budget is to control that amount of money being spent. So how often do you think you meet?
Monthly.
Yes. Absolutely, monthly. You're going to meet monthly, and each manager for each department, you may have a monthly managers meeting to discuss the financial situation of the company, and for each manager to see if they are up or down in terms of their overall spend for their department. If you're up or if you're down, if you're way over a certain limit, then that's going to be a problem. Why is it going to be a problem? Yes, because you may only have so much money in the company to pay for all the bills in that month. And if you've got more expenses than you've got revenue coming in, what do you do then? Do you need to go to the bank? If you can't get any more money, what happens? Do you not pay your staff? And if you don't pay your staff, then how are they going to feel about it? Exactly, you're not going to be very happy, are you?
The companies do all this, so how come they see collapse? I mean, you have all this strict.
Well, maybe they don't do all this. Maybe companies don't do all of this when they should.
Or maybe they fiddle.
Maybe they fiddle. Okay, communication. So, another purpose of budgetary control is the communication. What do we mean by communication? Anyone tell me?
Communication.
Communicate to different departments. Yeah?
Yeah.
To set the goals that being set.
Yes.
To know if all the single department are controlling the budget that being given to the chief committee.
I mean, you're right. I understand what you're saying. So, what you're saying is you're having a management meeting and the chief executive saying, these are the objectives of the company. We want to launch 10 new products here. We want to do this advertising. We want to compete against this company. Or we want to buy this company. We want to merge. We want to, take over companies. We want to expand our market share. The chief executive will tell you what the objectives of the company are. And then each of your departments will know, for communication, what the overall objective of the company is and how you're going to achieve those. Yeah. So by you then moving towards achieving these, then you can know what everyone else is doing. And then again, coordinate your activities to link in with everyone else. The worst thing is not knowing what's happening in the company and who's doing what and why it's happening. Whereas everyone else knows, then you can work together to get it done. Yeah, you may be more amenable to saying, well, the overall objective is this, and all our jobs and our lives are going to be dependent upon these new products. So the research and development team may do the appropriate research to get these products done because they're important. The sales team will then sell it in because it's important. And the admin team and the IT team would then put it in their systems, and the admin team would then put it there and go over and train their staff to make sure they know what's happening so they can correspond with the customers. Yeah? What about motivation? How does the budgetary control motivate people?
I think people hitting their target are seeing positive
Yes.
results.
Bonus.
Yes, absolutely. Salespeople will have targets, and people meeting their targets is a good thing. They may get bonuses, they may get commission, and recognizing those people who hit those targets, it can motivate you as well in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow in terms of self-esteem and self-actualization. Okay, so here motivation techniques is good as well. You can also look at various other theories in terms of motivation, in terms of McGregor's X and Y theory. You've got McGregor's X and Y theory and various other theories as well. Yeah. So you've got these are some of the purposes of budgetary control. And what about performance evaluation? How is this part of budgetary control? Performance evaluation. How can we evaluate the performance?
By have a meeting
Right,
Yes.
you're making,
one by one.
Yes.
that you're doing good, you're doing bad.
Yes.
It's more of a review, isn't it? Like,
Yes. So the performance evaluation is about having your monthly management meetings and saying, in fact, are you over or under your budget? And the company will be allowed, every department will be allowed a degree of leeway because you can't get it spot on. So you'll be allowed a degree of leeway either way,
Plus or minus.
plus or minus. But if you're outside too far, then it's going to be a problem, isn't it? It's not going to look too good if everyone else is in budget and you're not in budget, because if you're not in budget and you've overspent, then you're going to have to take away someone else's money. And why should you be taking away someone else's money? They're not going to be very happy. Because you've overspent, I need to have 2 less staff. So then I can't achieve my objectives. Okay, and what about feedback? Comparing. Again, that's similar by comparing
Yeah,
outcomes
similar
with
to-
the budgets. Okay. Okay, so this is the where it says discuss the process and purpose. These are the purposes of budgetary control. So you would have defined and explained what a budget is. You would then talked about what budget control is in an organisation, and then you talk about the purposes of budgetary control. The purposes being feedbacks, performance evaluations, motivation, communication, control and coordination, as well as resources, allocation and planning. Okay? And then finally, we need to talk about what?
the process.
Good. So we need to talk about the process. So let's talk about the process. What are the steps in preparing a budget? So what's the first thing that would happen?
So that shift.
So, good, Mary. So the first thing is looking at the external factors. But the external factors in terms of the company, in terms of what's happening in the SWOT environment, what's happening in the PESTEL environment, SWOT being strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, PESTEL being political, economic, social, technological, legal and environmental factors. And then, you're having a marketing strategy, you're having a strategy, saying what is the strategy of the company? Is it to increase market share? Is it to launch new products? Is it to consolidate? Is it to diversify? What is the strategy of the company? Is it to increase sales by 10% this year or 15% this year? If so, how are we going to do that? So, consideration of the external factors, okay? And then after that, the chief executive is going to be considering the overall goal and how he's going to achieve it. And then, what's normally going to happen is, they don't just say, there's your budget. They say to each department and each function, they say, well, tell us what you think the budget would be. You know the aims, you know the objectives, you know that you have to achieve this, this and this. IT has to do this, the admin department has to do all these functions, the marketing department has to do all these functions, the sales department has to do all these functions. You tell us, you know that, so you tell us what budget you need to achieve these overall company goals. So then each manager would then produce his departmental budget. Then where would that go?
To the committee.
Good. Then those budgets would go down to back to the budgetary committee or the budget officer or the chief executive, if depending upon what layers they have. And then after the chief executive has looked at it, what would he then say to you? They would make changes and amendments, and they would send it back to you. Yes. After they sent it back to you, here is where you start negotiating. Because if they send it back to you and they say, no, these need to be your budgets, what must you then do?
Jumping up and down.
Well, you're going to say,
Balance.
you're going to say to yourself, with the budget they've given you, can you achieve your objectives? Because if you agree that budget in a new financial year and you don't achieve your objectives, whose fault is it? Exactly. It's your own fault if you don't achieve your objectives. So here is where the negotiations are. And you've got to look at that budget very, very carefully. Here you negotiate.